You're managing your anxiety, you're coping with it, and you're keeping it at bay. But what if you're only treating the symptoms and not the real cause? Today, I'm going to uncover 4 hidden roots of chronic anxiety and what actually heals it. Welcome back to the Broken to Brave podcast. I'm really glad you're here today because I'm going to dive into something that most anxious and high functioning women have never been taught. And yet, it shapes everything about how you feel, how you respond, how you cope, and how you heal. Before I dive into all of that, I just want to do a PSA public service announcement that, gosh, I have so many that I want to do right now. So I just pause because I'm like, what do I want to talk about? Because so much has been coming up that I've been observing in many clients and their myths about what life is supposed to look like. I guess I'll start with this one. If you wait to do something until you feel comfortable, you will never do it. The comfort comes from doing the thing that is expansive. So I'll just use myself as an example. Here I am recording this podcast. And when I first started, do you think I felt comfortable? No. After 5 episodes, do you think I felt comfortable? No. Do I feel comfortable now? Yes. So the process of doing the uncomfortable thing makes it comfortable. And so I want you to look in your life and ask yourself, where am I waiting to take action because I'm waiting to feel comfortable? And do the opposite. Now, today, I want to walk you through 4 hidden roots of chronic anxiety, the things that are underneath the anxiety that I really don't hear other people talking about. Now, I know I don't hear everything, so who knows, but you're here now, so let's dive into it. Most women think their anxiety is caused by external factors like my job, a toxic workplace, my partner doesn't communicate well, my kids need me constantly, the political environment is shit, my hormones are out of whack, I feel unsupported by my parents, my past messed me up, something's wrong with me, my nervous system feels broken. All right. I could go on and on and on, but I feel like that's probably sufficient. And you're with me on this, right? They tend to think, and maybe you have tended to thought to think that, okay, I'm just playing around with you, but maybe you really have blamed all these external factors. Now, your past, your load, your daily load, and your environment, they matter. But the root of anxiety to address right now in order to heal is not those things. It's not controlling the things outside of you. It's not making them a certain way in order to feel better. Those things are activators. And one of the biggest reasons that women stay stuck is because they unknowingly outsource their healing and their power to what is happening around them. My partner needs to change so that I feel better. My workload needs to go down so that I feel better. My symptoms need to disappear first so that I feel better. Symptoms meaning even sensations in the body. My anxiety needs to calm down before I can do the thing I want to do. I just need to feel more confident. If XYZ weren't happening, I wouldn't feel this way. And I totally understand what you're saying. And I encourage you to hear this and hear it with so much love and compassion. Anxiety gets worse when you wait for the outside world to shift before you shift. It often lingers when we wait for that outside world before we feel safe. You actually have control over your safety. Now, small caveat here, I'm not talking about abuse, okay? I'm not talking about life-threatening things. I'm talking about day-to-day life for the most part, okay? All right, now back to the episode. Real healing does not happen with control. It doesn't happen with you trying to make something be a certain way. It begins with your capacity and your capacity expanding. And one of the most common drivers of anxiety is resistance. And if you're in my program, you know all too well, I will pull out a Chinese finger trap in a heartbeat to demonstrate resistance and when somebody is in a space of resistance. And I'll tell you what, I can recognize it super well because that was the way that I lived my life. Resisting all of it, but I'll give some examples. Slowing down, resisting feeling emotions or feeling negative emotions, resisting looking inward, resisting taking self-accountability, resisting letting go of negative patterns of old survival strategies of avoidance of the things that keep you or did keep you quote unquote safe. But today, I want to help you see what's underneath your anxiety so you can stop fighting the symptoms and start healing the root. Let's dive in. We're going to look at root number 1 first, and this is unprocessed survival stress. So if you grew up in a home where there was unpredictability, chaos, criticism, some version of emotional neglect, or you had to quote unquote manage other people's emotions, your body learned some things. Your nervous system learned early on that being on high alert is safer than letting go. But now you're an adult and your nervous system, probably, unless you've done something about it, is still running that old program, still running that protective loop. And here's how it could show up in your life in maybe other ways, but I'll just give a few examples. You feel on the edge even when nothing is wrong. You're constantly scanning for what could go wrong. Your body responds like you're in danger even when you're not. And you can't relax without numbing or distracting. And you tense up in anticipation of what could happen, all of the what ifs, even in good moments. And here's where resistance sneaks in. When you try to slow down, when you try to rest, when you try to feel, your body panics. It doesn't trust that stillness or that safety or that ease because stillness has never felt safe. But just because something hasn't felt safe yet doesn't mean that you cannot build that in your life. So if you're resonating with this, what have you maybe or probably been doing? Subconsciously resisting the very thing that would heal you. And I kind of slowed down there and gave a pause for an extra emphasis. What you resist will persist. Okay? When you resist these things, you are subconsciously resisting the thing that would heal you, that would give you everything that you want. Okay? Healing isn't about force. It's about recalibrating your nervous system and teaching your nervous system that it can be with a sensation in your body, for example, without expecting the other shoe to drop. It can feel without shutting down. It can feel without overwhelming itself, without retreating into numbness, without flipping into freeze mode, or without losing that sense of groundedness. That stillness can be safe. And I imagine that you're probably with me and you're like, yes, I know, but like, how, Steph? And this is part of the deeper work, is not pushing your way out of survival mode, but being guided by recalibrating your nervous system, which I have a protocol and it takes 10 weeks for the recalibration. Many women experience relief in just a couple weeks. Now, second root is this internalized self criticism. And this one runs deep across many, many people. For many women, anxiety is not really even fear of danger, but fear of judgment or fear of failure or fear of imperfection or disappointing someone. And it's that voice saying, I should be doing more. Everyone handles this better than I do. I shouldn't feel this way. Why can't I just get it together? What's wrong with me? And although it makes sense that you would believe those thoughts, what if you have been wrong and the thoughts are not truth? Self criticism is one of the most powerful fuels of chronic anxiety because it alarms you, it doesn't regulate you. And resistance can show up here by being hard on yourself because it feels like control and feels familiar and maybe even feels like protection. But if criticizing yourself first would prevent someone else from doing it, that would probably be your experience, and the expectation internally can be like, oh, well, this perfection will keep me safe. But has it done that so far? No. And if you're, arguing back with me and you're like, well, in some ways, I'm like, yeah, but let's keep going. Okay. I'll just leave it at that, especially since I'm just talking to myself right now. I'm kind of in a silly mood, clearly, but self-criticism does not protect you. It exhausts you. It dysregulates your system. It reinforces the belief that you are not capable and that you can't handle things. Okay, so healing this isn't about thinking positive. I have a few episodes on toxic positivity. There's nothing wrong with seeing the positive in situations, but there's a difference with refusing to allow yourself to recognize the full picture and look at things the way they are and try to suppress those negative emotions. Now, it's about learning to speak to yourself in a way that releases judgment and sticks with the facts, and in a way that calms your system instead of adding more fear and more threat. So it's about building internal safety. Now, route number 3 is all around emotion suppression, which is huge. This is the route that most high functioning women don't fully realize that they have. Somewhere along the way, you probably learned emotions or feeling is weak, crying is dramatic, anger is unsafe, sadness makes me a burden or is inconvenient, my emotions are too much, or vulnerability is too risky. So, what do you do? If you resonate with that, probably you've gotten really good at staying productive, at staying strong, at staying fine, at staying in your head. But you also don't stay connected with yourself and with others. And resistance can sneak in here too, because feeling may feel threatening if you're resonating with this and you want to heal, but you don't want to feel. You want relief, but you don't want to sit in the discomfort that leads you there. Everything that you want is on the opposite side of what you're avoiding. So your system pushes the emotions down, tries to avoid them, tries to control them. And anxiety can become that pressure valve, so to speak. Anxiety is not the first emotion. It's the cover emotion. When women come into my program, one of the first things that we work with, in addition to recalibrating their nervous system, is every time you say the word anxiety, tell me what other emotion is present. Anxiety is often mismanagement of other emotions. It is a cover emotion. Healing requires learning how to feel. And you can feel in small doses. You don't have to throw yourself in the deep end. And that's especially helpful so that your body doesn't see emotion as danger. Now, you heal this by building that emotional capacity, by learning how to feel safely, like I said, even starting in small doses so that your body stops interpreting them as danger, because if you've been suppressing them, they probably feel like danger. Now, your nervous system, this is all part of the work to healing, and it is the foundation of freedom. The last one that I want to talk about today is root number 4, and this is broken self-trust. This is the quietest root that people are not recognizing. When I ask them, what is the opposite of anxiety? Now, if you've been here, you may know that answer. Or if you've gone to any of my free classes, you may know that answer. But if you're new here, you'd probably say, I don't know, feeling calm, feeling at ease, feeling grounded, something along those lines. But the opposite of anxiety is self-trust. When you don't trust yourself to make decisions, to sit with discomfort, to handle big emotions, to navigate uncertain situations, to set boundaries, to hold boundaries, to speak what's true for you, to choose what's best for you, to recover from mistakes, your brain will always, always scan for danger. The lack of self-trust forces your nervous system to outsource safety. I'll be okay if everyone else is okay with me. I'll be okay if the outcomes are predictable. I'll be okay if nothing goes wrong or if someone tells me what to do. And the resistance here can be, tell me the right answer. What if I choose wrong? What if I regret it? I'll trust myself after the anxiety goes away. But self-trust doesn't just show up once you feel ready. It is actively built. Okay, so it is taking steps to incrementally build more trust in yourself and your capability. And that is even through micro moments, showing up for yourself. When you make a decision, even if fear is present, when you repair if needed, when you sit in the discomfort and you remind yourself, I can do this. Even if they're unhappy, we can get through this. So how do you heal these 4 roots? You don't do it by trying to get rid of it. You heal it by addressing what your system has been scared to feel, to hold, and to choose. And this all comes back to regulating that nervous system, building your emotional capacity, having self-accountability, and building self-trust. You can stop fighting anxiety. You can stop running from it. And this is how you stop waiting for something outside of you to fix what is happening inside of you. And you start to build that internal safety that you didn't get, maybe earlier in life or up to this point. That's what we do to rewire at the root, to quiet the symptoms and get freedom. So if you've been listening to this today and you're like, okay, this is really resonating with me, this is exactly what I've been struggling to do, then I want you to know your nervous system is ready to heal. And that's exactly what we do inside of Brave Academy. We address the root, we heal the pattern, we expand your capacity, we rebuild self-trust, we recalibrate your nervous system. And if you just listen to me and you're like, oh my gosh, that feels overwhelming, I promise you, I will hold your hand, take you step by step, and show you that it actually is much easier than your mind has been telling you it is, with just a few minutes a day. And if you want a sneak peek into the exact 4-step process that I guide clients through, watch my free class. You can register for it at www.brave-method.com/anxiety, or just click on that link in the show notes. You deserve to feel safe and you deserve to feel free. And so many women that I work with inside of Brave Academy begin feeling that in just weeks. Your entire life could change for the better, for you to finally feel better in just a few weeks. Now, all right, I will see you next Tuesday.